Following our discussion on the Central Arizona Groundwater Replenishment District and disclosure obligations for replenishment fees, it is important to turn attention to another critical environmental element frequently encountered in Arizona real estate transactions: on-site wastewater treatment facilities, often referred to as septic systems. Understanding the laws governing their transfer and identifying the agency responsible for enforcing the state's environmental standards is essential for ensuring compliance, protecting public health, and safeguarding Arizona's fragile groundwater resources. In Arizona, the regulation and transfer of on-site wastewater treatment systems fall under the authority of the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality, ADQ. ADEQ was established under the Environmental Quality Act of 1986 and is responsible for enforcing state and federal environmental laws related to water quality, air quality, and waste management. ADQ's mission is to protect and enhance public health and the environment by ensuring that land development and property transactions adhere to sustainable and lawful environmental practices. The specific rules governing on-site wastewater treatment systems are codified in the Arizona Administrative Code, AAC, Title 18, Chapter 9, Articles 1 and 3, which outline the design, installation, operation, and transfer of septic systems. When real property served by an on-site wastewater facility is sold or otherwise transferred, AAC R189A316 requires the owner to follow a precise transfer process designed to ensure that the system is functioning properly and compliant with state standards. Under this rule, before the sale of a property with a septic system can close, the seller is legally obligated to have the system inspected by an ADEQ licensed inspector within 6 months prior to the transfer. The inspection must evaluate the condition of the tank, disposal field, and other system components to determine whether the facility is operating as intended. After the inspection, the seller must provide the inspection report and any necessary repair documentation to both the buyer and the ADEQ, or the delegated county health department, through the on-site wastewater electronic filing system, OWEFS, or another approved method. The buyer then assumes responsibility for filing a notice of transfer, NOT, with ADEQ within 15 calendar days after closing. This notice officially records the change in ownership of the on-site wastewater system and ensures that ADEQ's records remain up to date. Failure to file the notice of transfer can result in enforcement actions or delays in future property transactions. In counties such as Maricopa, Pima, Coconino, and Yavapai, ADEQ has delegated authority to local environmental health departments, which oversee inspections, permitting, and enforcement at the county level. Title JA escrow companies generally transfer these title. If an owner sells their property on their own, then they would have to file and record the transfer. For example, consider a buyer purchasing a rural home in Queen Creek that relies on a septic system rather than a municipal sewer connection. Before closing, the seller hires a licensed inspector who finds that the septic tank requires pumping and one baffle replacement. The inspection report and proof of repairs are uploaded to ADEQ's database. After closing, the buyer files the notice of transfer to formally assume ownership of the septic system. This process ensures that both parties have fulfilled their legal responsibilities and that the system continues to operate safely under state environmental standards. These laws are not merely procedural. They play a crucial role in protecting Arizona's groundwater, which serves as a primary source of drinking water for millions of residents. Improperly maintained or failing septic systems can leach contaminants such as nitrates, bacteria, and phosphorus into aquifers, posing significant public health risks. By mandating inspections and transfer documentation, ADEQ ensures that system failures are identified and corrected before ownership changes hands. Real estate licensees must also understand their obligations to exercise reasonable skill and care by advising clients to comply with ADIKI inspection and transfer requirements. A failure to ensure that the seller completes the septic inspection prior to closing could expose both the licensee and their client to legal and financial liability. Agents should also direct clients to the ADIG Onsite Wastewater Program for guidance and provide copies of inspection and transfer documentation during escrow. Review summary. The Arizona Department of Environmental Quality, ADEQ, enforces the state's environmental standards, including the regulation of on-site wastewater treatment facilities. When a property with a septic system is sold, the seller must have the system inspected by an ADEQ licensed inspector within 6 months of closing and provide the inspection report to the buyer and ADEQ. The buyer must then file a notice of transfer within 15 days after closing. These requirements ensure environmental protection, public health safety, and proper system maintenance documentation. Real estate professionals must guide clients through these procedures to ensure compliance and avoid liability. Discussion prompts. Why is ADQ inspection required before transferring property with a septic system? Answer. To ensure that the system is functioning properly and not posing an environmental or public health risk. Who is responsible for filing the notice of transfer after a property sale? Answer. The buyer, within 15 days of closing. Why is the regulation of on-site wastewater facilities critical to groundwater protection? Answer. Because failing systems can contaminate groundwater with bacteria and chemicals, endangering drinking water supplies. Closing remarks. The transfer of on-site wastewater systems illustrates the balance Arizona strikes between private property rights and environmental responsibility. Through the ADEQ's oversight, every transaction involving a septic system ensures that groundwater resources remain protected and that buyers receive full transparency about the property's environmental condition. For real estate professionals, understanding and facilitating compliance with ADEQ's transfer requirements is not only a legal duty, but also a key component of ethical and professional representation.